Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for HEOS Talks. We'd like to welcome you. These talks are focused on how to help each other succeed. I'm your host today. My name is Tom Caravela, and in this episode of HEOS Talks, we have the privilege of sitting down with a truly inspirational leader. It's a story of an everyday Joe and his remarkable ascent from shop floor to CEO of a large company. So get ready to learn about this exciting journey. So today with me, I have Mr. Paul Diolosa. He's the CEO of American Regent Pharmaceuticals, a totally remarkable individual and a true example of success. Paul's rise to the top is a shining example of how hard work, timing, and passion can help shape careers. His employees love him. He's always available. He's willing to listen. He's always willing to make the necessary changes for his people. So let's dive into his journey and explore what drives him, what inspires him, how he in turn inspires others on HEOS Talks, which stands for helping each other succeed. So, hey, Paul, welcome to the program. I'm really excited to have a conversation with you.
Hey, Tom. It's good to be with you today. Thank you very much for having me, and I'm looking forward to having this discussion today.
Awesome. Let's start with an intro. If you can tell us a little bit about your background, your experience, and your upbringing, I think that's a great place to start.
Sure, I'm a Long Island boy. I grew up here, and I still work here. I'm very fortunate that I live 7 miles from where I grew up, and I work 12 miles from where I live today. I know that doesn't happen that often. I come from a blue-collar family. I'm the first person in my family to go to college. Growing up, we didn't have a lot. My dad worked 2 jobs. He worked for the local township. We ran an automotive shop out of our garage. And even though we didn't have a lot, it never felt that way. I honestly don't know how my parents did it, but they provided very well for me. We grew up with Italian traditions in our household where Sunday dinners were always very important. And I was also in the Boy Scouts. I made the rank of Eagle Scout. And I think that really had a big impact on leadership and my views on teamwork.
I think that's why you and I hit it off. We literally come from the same background. I literally grew up in the same exact background, same upbringing, Italian, Sunday, dinners. And I love that. It's old school. And I felt it when I first met you. So tell us a little bit about what you kind of envisioned your career to look like before you kind of get started earlier in your career.
Yeah, well, because my dad ran a shop out of the garage and I helped him work on cars, I've always been a hands-on guy. I loved cars. I restored a 67 Camaro when I was younger. So because of all that, I decided to go to college for mechanical engineering, thinking, of course, that I was going to go work for GM and be their best-in-class car designer. Life turned out very different from what I imagined, but I couldn't be happier.
It always does, doesn't it? We always wind up in a place we kind of almost never thought we would be. So can you share with us maybe some type of inspirational life event or something that may have transpired or happened that helped really kind of shape the trajectory of what happened next in your career?
Sure. When I joined American Regent 15 years ago now, I interviewed at the time and I got a tour of the plant in Shirley, New York, and I was very concerned about the state of the facility. It really hadn't had much investment for 30 years. So I went to the CEO at the time and I told her that I was excited about joining the company because of the opportunity to make improvements. But I told her I was going to need $100 million to really get the place to where it needed to be. She agreed. I accepted the position. And soon after I joined, the FDA came in and saw all the things that I was concerned about. And we fell under a warning letter. So I hadn't been here long enough yet to make the necessary changes that I knew were necessary. So it was 3 years of hell. Could have been the end of the company, but it wasn't. It turned out well for us. In pharmaceuticals, it's really important to focus on CGMPs, which are current good manufacturing processes. You need to be relentless in the pursuit of continuous improvement and remain current with best practices. So in the end, I think it was actually good for me and the company that we fell on those tough times because it made us all better for it.
Yeah, and you took things to a whole nother level from there. Let's not forget, you started there and then the trajectory was insane after that.
Yeah, so when I joined the company, we were about a $500 million company. with a site in Shirley. We now have sites in Ohio, California, France, and we're a $1.5 billion revenue company.
Man, that's amazing. Well, congratulations on your success. I'm sure they're very lucky. They realize how lucky they are to have you. But before we get too far into your success now, I love your experience at Estee Lauder. I know that you wound up in going from manufacturing into a position at Estee Lauder. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so when I was in college, I was looking for some real life experience. So I went to school in Virginia, Polytechnic Institute. Uh, I was looking for life experience so that when I came out, I would be more desirable in the real world. So I entered a cooperative education program with Estee Lauder. I was really good with AutoCAD, so I quickly became an asset to the engineering team. And out of college, they ended up creating a position for me. It was an easy transition and acceptance because all my other job opportunities were out of state. And my girlfriend at the time, was local, so that made it especially easy to stay local for her as well.
Yeah, and I remember, you and I were having a conversation, and you mentioned that you were able to benefit from working with lazy people. So, can you share what you meant by that?
Yeah, so while I was at Estee Lauder, I worked with folks that had been with the company a long time, and I guess they kind of got complacent, if you will, and they were happy to dump work on the new guy. And that worked to my benefit because every challenge they offered to me, I took it on. I learned a great deal. I was designing buildings, everything from electrical to civil to mechanical systems. I was kind of learning on the fly. I had them to go to when I had questions, but they really let me come out of my shell in that role. It definitely helped me come up to speed quickly. And because Long Island is a small community, so working in the construction industry, I became well known as someone good at getting things done. And that led me to be recruited to a director role at a very young age at a pharmaceutical company.
I mean, that's just such a great story. I love the message of there's lazy people all around. You picked up and took the lead to bring things to another level, and then their laziness helped you to shine even more. I love that. I think that's amazing. So tell
There's
us.
opportunities. We just have to take advantage of them.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm sure you're the type of guy that didn't complain. You just got in there, and you said your hands on. You got your hands dirty, and you just did what you had to do. Can you tell me how you transitioned from there? Because I know you had success at Estee Lauder, but then you wound up in like corrugated boxes, if I'm not mistaken. How did that happen?
Yeah, so I transitioned to a company called Altana after Estee Lauder. And after being there for 10 years, I was the likely successor to the head of manufacturing, which was really what I had aspired to be. They received a new CEO, and needless to say, we did not share the same values and ideals of what we were trying to accomplish, and I just knew it was not somebody I could work for. So I landed a job at a company called Southern Container. I had responsibilities for 13 plants from Syracuse to Georgia. I didn't know the business, but I know machines. I know how they work. I know how to install them and set up teams to run them. So since I had no experience, they had some concerns as well. So I told them, look, let me join the company, put me on a 6-week rotation. I'll run every piece of equipment and I'll learn it inside and out. So I learned a great deal in a short period of time. By the end of that 6 weeks, I had planned efficiency improvements in every plant from being right on the shop floor. And 2 of those 13 plants were losing money. I was able to turn them around in 6 months by having a hands-on approach. But it was definitely too much travel, and I didn't have the same passion as I do for pharma. It's not very exciting making cardboard boxes.
I can imagine. Yeah, but obviously, it sounds like no matter what you did, you found success. Whether it was Estee Lauder or cardboard boxes, didn't matter. It sounds like you just found success. And it also sounds like people were coming and
Or success
recruiting
found
you.
me from hard work.
Exactly. Exactly. It wasn't an accident. So how did you transition back to pharma from there?
While I was at Southern Container, I knew I wanted to get back into pharma. It was the first time in my life I ever really started looking seriously for a job. Previously, People had been coming to me. I put my name out there on LinkedIn, and when I came home from a long travel week from Southern Container, had a message on my answering machine about a job opportunity making sterile injectable drug products, and I knew in that moment that that was going to be my new home.
Got you. So the thing that's interesting is I remember you saying something along the lines of, "I never even wanted the position." So you were able to find success in your return to pharma. So how did you make your way to the CEO of that company?
So my ideal job was always to become the head or vice president of manufacturing. Never in my wildest dreams did I want or even believe that I would be given this opportunity. Through my time here, we went through several heads of quality, and every time the head of quality was absent, I took on that role as well. When we got a new CEO here, they learned to rely on me and gave me responsibilities for most of the operations here, primarily because that person was running two companies at the time. So they relied heavily on me. And when the time came for them to move on to a bigger role, they recommended to our Japanese parent company that since I was running most of the company anyway, that I should be given that responsibility. I do miss my old job. I'm a hands-on type guy. I definitely may have liked some of the things about that better. But the one thing I'm honored about having this current role is I know that there's no one that's going to care more about our employees and our patients, and more importantly, the long-term sustainability of the company than me. So I'll work tirelessly to make sure that everyone that works at this company has a job for the foreseeable future.
I love it, man. Again, I just think you're such an amazing inspiration. So let me ask you this, as a leader, what's most important to you?
So the most important thing to me, priority one, is our employees. Without the great people we have, we're not able to do what we do. Especially through COVID times and people being remote, I often remind many in the company that, hey, this is at our heart, we're a manufacturing company, and without the people producing those sterile injectable drug products, we're nothing without them. Secondly is our patients. Our employees are making those products for a person that's going to receive it. And we always need to focus on why we're here every day. We're here to make those medically necessary drug products to help the well-being of others. And from my history, the third is compliance. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. So those
Yeah.
are my three priorities. And I believe if you focus on those, most of the business needs will take care of themselves.
Well, one of the things that resonates with me from the conversation you and I had is about your onboarding practices. Is it true that you actually meet with each new hire that comes into the organization as part of the onboarding practice?
So every 2 weeks, we coordinate our onboarding. We have multiple sites, and we do all the onboarding on the same day for all sites. I typically join a video call so that I could be with all the sites at the same time. And I meet with all employees to welcome them to the American Regent family. I think it's important to know for new employees that they're valuable, to welcome them to the family. And I believe it's important because you can't scale success without great people. So setting the expectations, letting them know when they're joining the company that I'm here for them. As a new employee, if they focus on putting the organizational needs first, it will always be in their best interest. And I ask everyone, the most important thing they can do every day when they come to work is help the person next to them be successful.
I'll tell you, I don't think a lot of CEOs meet with all of the new employees. That's definitely something I think is really rare, and I think it's exceptional. So, what advice do you have as we look at the younger generation of employees and professionals that might be coming up into the workforce? What advice would you have for those folks?
So I'll say the same advice that I give to my two kids. I have a son and a daughter is now 24 and 21, both leading towards successful careers. I tell them all the time, you're not owed anything in this world other than an opportunity to prove yourself. And if you do, you'll be rewarded for making the most of that opportunity. I let them know that you should focus on continuing to improve yourself I myself continued on with education past my initial degree. And also attitude. Don't just punch the clock when you go to work. Be invested and you'll get recognized. I liken it to a sports team. When you go to a game, are you going to be on the court in the game? Or are you going to be in the bleachers watching? So I would recommend that you be in the game and keep your eye on the ball. Hard work is important and it pays off. But the most important thing that I would say to anyone is you have to have patience. Working hard, doing what's right for the organization, in my experience, and doing the right thing while being kind to others will always come back to you as a reward.
Totally. I totally agree. That's great advice. Be in the game, folks. Be in the game. You're not going to accomplish anything being on the sidelines. Paul, thank you. You
That's
were
right.
amazing. I really appreciate you taking the time. This was an awesome conversation. And your journey and your commitment to your people is really inspiring. So thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story.
Well, Tom, it was my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me today. And I appreciate the work that's being done to try and help and inspire others.
Awesome. And I want to thank our audience. Thank you guys for joining us. This was such an insightful conversation with a leader who has shown so much success and has had a profound impact on the lives of so many. And we just want to thank you for joining us for this conversation. So until next time, let's all get inspired to do more, be more, and live more. And if you feel like you can be an inspiration to others, or maybe you want to interview someone on this show, please reach out to us so that you can help us with this mission to help others. Thank you for watching HEOS Talks, and we will see you on the next episode.